Welcome to the Flowers Now podcast, where people tell their story and God gets the glory. We're doing it a little bit different on today. Across from me,
caught me off guard.
Yeah, using the black mic, we have,
like always, Mr. Maverick coming at him above the average.
Hey, yes indeed. And across from me, using the red mic, we have
Mikey Mike.
Yes indeed, yes indeed. What's good, fellas?
Oh man, we alive, we living and kicking.
Thank you. I was drinking coffee. Thank you.
Yeah. We alive and able to drink the coffee.
Round of applause. Man. Everybody had a good weekend?
Man, it was productive.
You had a productive weekend? What you do, bro? What you do this weekend?
You would really want to know what I did?
Yeah. I definitely want to know what you did. That's why I asked you.
So one thing that I'm doing like every Saturday morning is going to a different place and watch the sunrise, right? So
wow.
That's like my thing now.
Word.
You feel me? Just different spots. I know y'all hating right now. I can sense it.
Me.
Ooh.
That's pretty dope though.
But I was on my way to the gym, got ready. You know, you got to get amped. The car didn't even start. Like, man. Car wasn't starting. So long story short, just had to get a battery replaced.
Oh, that's good.
You know, man, warranty.
Okay.
Warranty.
Yeah, that's even better.
Free, didn't come out of pocket.
Yeah, that's always dope.
The only tax there was me having to do it myself in the heat. No.
Oh, okay. I bet that was pretty taxing.
Man, especially when you weren't expecting to do it.
Word.
When they told you that the location to do it for you. You know what I'm saying? But no, just been studying that freight brokering too, man.
Oh yeah.
You feel me?
That's what's up. How that's coming?
It's good, man. Give me about a month and a half, man.
Yeah, you gonna be able to let me borrow $1.
Time out though. Time out. More of the story, you watched the sun coming up as you was fixing your car?
No, bro, man. I can't give you like the complete breakdown. I'm trying to give you like the fast forward, the abridged version.
Never mind. Give me Cliff Notes. That works.
Give me the Cliff Notes. What you do this weekend, bro?
Clean.
What?
School shop.
Oh yeah.
You
Gotta get ready for school. You all done? You all done with the school shopping?
No, my wife sent me some shoes for the girls. They were $59. I cried.
Each or
Each. Yeah.
How many girls you got?
2.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. I was like, oh, praise ye the Lord.
Praise ye the Lord. We gotta get them, huh?
Hey, when you balling got like the Robinsons.
Yeah. They should, they say like keeping up with the Joneses. It should be like keeping up with the Robinsons.
Word. Balling like that,
y'all gonna do this in America?
Out of control, he said in America.
Do this?
We know y'all got.
You ain't got no disrespect. Sound bite like,
bro, y'all balling.
That's very disrespectful. Let's get to the day's business. What you do this weekend, Mr. Deacon Harris? You made me all frustrated.
Yeah, that's that coffee. That's that coffee talking. What you do? You know what, man? I worked this weekend. I work on weekends, so you know what I'm saying.
But is your work really work?
Really?
I mean, if I'm keeping it all the way 100, you know what I'm saying?
No. We need 50%.
No, I'm gonna keep it 100 and just say no. You know what I mean? Like no. When I'm at work, I definitely be chilling. You know what I'm saying?
I miss that job, boy. That type of job.
I be chilling. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, yeah. So it was one of them type of weekends. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually reading this book called. It's actually an audio book, so I guess I'm listening to this book called something about what America did to the citizens. War on America.
Battlefield America.
Phenomenal. It's sad that I don't remember the name of it, but
phenomenal. Whitehead.
Yeah, John Whitehead. Battlefield America. The war on the American people. Yeah, and it's a really deep book, man. It's crazy. I'ma go ahead and like listen to it.
You need the book, bro.
But I'ma definitely have to listen to it again. Yeah, and I definitely do need the book. Like
certain books, like it forces you to like take notes. And,
exactly, and that's the very reason why I'm gonna listen to it again. But it's definitely a book worth having in a collection. You know what I'm saying? Sure. Like, cause you could read it, but until you sit down and really like dissect it, it ain't gonna register. Cause man, it's a lot going on in that book. But it's a great book though. It's a great book. So yeah, man. Today, I know y'all only see the two brothers in front of the camera. Today we have our first phone-in guest. Mm-hmm. So we about
I'm excited about this.
Yeah, we about to give him a call, and
hey, do we prank or no? We keep it official and like let's get to business.
I mean, hey man, look, it's gonna go how it's gonna go. You know what I mean?
No, cause he too gangster, bro. I'm sorry. Let's just
never mind.
Let's come humble.
It's gonna go. He said, "Let's come humble." Well, we gonna always.
He gonna come
that.
joking to me.
We gonna always.
Honestly,
we gonna always come humble. But yeah, let's go ahead and make this phone call, fellas. Here we go.
Praise the Lord, brother. How you doing?
Hey, brother Cornelius Cole. How you doing, man?
Yes, sir. I'm doing great.
Good. Well, you on the air right now. Welcome to the Flowers Now podcast, where people tell their story and God gets the glory. You know what I'm saying? Right now, what I want to do is just take a pause for the cause. And give you a round of applause. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Definitely.
All right.
I definitely want to first of all just thank you for giving us your time. You know what I mean?
Sir.
Definitely appreciate you. Now I got some other brothers on the line that you may be familiar with.
Okay.
You got me, Mike Robinson.
Yeah.
Oh, how you doing, brother Mike?
What up, Deacon?
All right. Doing great.
OG, I'll have your money the next time I see you, okay? That's all.
Hey, boy, you better. You know I got them angels on my side, right?
Look, and you got them hands, so you got angels and hands. Double whammy.
Double whammy.
Yes, sir.
Man, so, man, like I said, man, we definitely appreciate you, man, for just showing up. Where are you right now?
I'm in Cheraw, South Carolina right now at the moment.
Okay, Cheraw,
South Carolina, yes, sir.
Okay, what South Carolina? So I don't think I know no cities in South Carolina. Where is that? Is that any?
Columbia.
Is that okay? Columbia. How close is that to Columbia?
That's the capital. Yeah, and I'm like only like 70 miles from there.
Oh, okay. So 70 miles from Columbia. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Is that where you? That's where you reside at right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Well, we gonna get right to it, man. We got some questions for you.
Okay.
And obviously, fellas chime in when y'all get ready. But the first question, we usually just start generically. You know what I'm saying? Like, where were you born at?
Oh, I was born in Miami, Florida.
Oh, okay. Man, I didn't know that.
Yes, sir.
You a Carolina man.
All day long, huh?
Carolina.
So Miami, Florida. What year? What year were you born in?
I was born in 65.
Oh, okay.
He was 3.
Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
1965. What do you remember that was going on in the 60s? Like, tell me something that you remember. I know you was a kid, but tell me something you remember about the 60s.
Oh, wow. The 60s, man, I remember when I was in Florida, I remember a lot of James Brown that was being played back then. Yeah. And I remember going to school there for a while and being, in the city, sometimes you can adapt to a lot of things that that's really not a good path to follow. You know what I mean? So, but at the same time, I ended up leaving Florida and moved down to South Carolina with my grandmother, which was a blessing for me.
Okay, so how old were you when you left Florida?
I was like 10 years old when I left Florida.
Oh, okay. Wow. So you spent 10 years of your life
Oh, you
in
from
Florida. Wow.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, oh man.
Mhm.
Wow. So
Siblings. How many siblings do you have?
I have 4 brothers. Well, no, 2 brothers outside of me. I'm a third brother, and I have 3 sisters that's under me.
oh, okay. Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. So
Yeah.
let's let's just go back to Florida right quick and kind of describe like what Miami was like. Like, what did you love? What did you love about Miami? What did you hate about Miami?
Well,
If
what I
anything.
loved about it was, I love coconut, and coconuts was all over the place. Coconut, mangoes, and that kind of thing. My grandmother there also ran a store from our homes, for the kids. Like she was like a kid, the kids' mother. Every kid in the block, they would always come to her and get freeze pops and candy
Oh
and chips and all
yeah.
that
So
kind
your
of thing.
grandma was the candy lady.
Right.
Every
Yes, sir.
neighborhood,
Yeah.
every good neighborhood got a
Mhm.
candy lady.
Oh yeah. And the weather was it was hot, it had its benefits, and then it was nice, you know what I mean, because of like a lot of water sprinklers there that was for the kids to help keep us cool. And it was just pretty nice all around. We stayed kind of close knit. We didn't too much venture off at that point, but it was kind of close knit.
Oh, okay, okay. So what about like in Carolina? What city in Carolina did you move to?
I moved to King Street at that point.
Oh, okay, King Street. You was 10 years old. You moved to King Street, South Carolina, right?
Right, correct.
So let's talk about, because that's basically where you spent the majority of your time. So describe King Street, because was it very different? Sound like it was very different.
Yeah, it definitely was. My grandmother there owned a farm, and being an animal lover, I mean, I loved the chicken and the goats and the cows and that kind of thing. We also had mules back when, so that was good. And also it taught me my work ethics there. I mean, responsibilities there. That my grandmother, and my uncles, they kind of like taught me how to be a little man and taught me responsibilities there.
Wow. Okay. So you was one of them ones had to get up early in the morning and tend to the fields, basically, huh?
Yeah, that's right. They had to tend to them jokers, and if they get out, my little feet been running behind them trying to shut them back up.
Word. So
Yeah.
let's talk about like what kind of family you were born into, like your mom, your dad. I know you talked about your grandma owning having her own candy store, but talk a little bit more about the kind of family you come from.
Okay. Well, when I was in Miami, my mother, she was a hard worker. She did what she could to help bring us up, and she also kept us in church as well. We used to ride a little van, every Sunday to go to Sunday school, and the first church song that I learned was "Yes, Jesus Loved Me," and so after being there for a while, and then I moved to King Street with my grandmother, and my grandmother, she was a pastor, so
Wow.
she also kept me linked in with church and with God and that kind of thing. So, and it was a must that you go to church. You didn't play. If you didn't go to church, you didn't go nowhere to that next Sunday other than school.
Wow.
hmm
Wow.
So it was pretty. Serving the Lord and my family was serious.
So that's basically what they did for a living, like ran the church and ran the farm, huh?
And the farm, right? That's right. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So when you were out there, you had aunts and uncles out there, or cousins,
Right.
or what?
Yep. Uncles, aunts, cousins there. My uncles, they lived with my grandmother. And as they got older enough to have kids, and then my cousins, those they came along, and we was like a real close knit family back when. Almost like the Waltons. When time to eat, everything stopped, and everybody go in to eat.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was real close knit back then.
Man, that's
Yeah.
dope. That's dope.
Mhm.
So, and I know you got some stories. Give me one of your most memorable stories from back then.
Wow. My most memorable one, My grandma didn't play, for one. We had a tree that we called the switch tree, and it was all also known as the correction tree. You step out of line.
Wonder what that was for.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
and still yet to this day, that tree still exists. You know what I mean?
Wow.
It still exists. We can cut it down. It caught a fire, you know what I mean, and all, but it comes up. It's still right there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So every time I go there, I see that tree. So it's a lot of discipline that formed in me there. That was handed down to my grandmother. That she gave to me. You know what I mean? And my uncles and them, they was around. They taught me how to do little things as a little man. They always called me little man. So I learned to feed the hogs and ride the mule and the horses and that kind of thing. But I really love the farm. I love venturing off in the woods, just venturing way out, just doing discovery. Like I said, my grandmother kept a tight knit on us. She didn't play this, venturing off, going to friends' house that she didn't know too well or just being loose, you know what I mean? She kept, and we stayed in church. We had like one of those wooden floor churches. And man, when the spirit moved in there, I can remember how the floor used to rock. You know what I mean? Everybody be clapping their hands, had the scrub board, the big old round, big bass drum they had.
Yeah.
And I remember it was kind of like dim, like back when, it wasn't as bright as the lights, like how we got like a lot of lights now.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's like a dim memory, but it was very good. It was peaceful. Wasn't a whole lot going on, too much to get into. At my age at that point, you know what I mean? But it's just that farm life and the discipline, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I thank God, for my grandmother and the discipline that she gave me, because that helped mold me, as a young man. Put me on so bad.
Wow. Okay. So
yeah.
So you sound like you was introduced to the church at a very, very early age. Like,
yes, I was.
Basically born into it, huh?
Right. That's right. Because if we didn't go to church, we didn't go nowhere else. You know what I mean? Up until that next Sunday, other than school.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So here's a question for you: When did you begin to really take your walk with God seriously, or has it always been?
Well, my mother, when she moved down from Florida, we came to the town that I'm in right now, which is Girard. And we always go to church still. But what got me to make my walk with God, or helped me to make my decision to make my walk with God, to take it more serious, was when I watched this movie back when. It was called The Burning in Hell. And wow. I was like, that's one place I don't want to go to. So after the movie and everything, the preacher, he talked with us, and then those that wanted to get saved, I got saved at that point. I got saved back in like 78 when I got saved. 77, 78.
How old were you?
At that time, I was about like 12, maybe 13.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so this movie, Burning in Hell, was like they took you to the theater, or it was a VHS, or what?
No, it was a big old school wheel film, like a projection film, and we watched it at church.
Oh man.
Yeah. They introduced that to a lot of us, like that was turning 12 at that point. When it was like, okay, you're going to be accountable for your own sins, that type deal. Yeah.
Wow.
So they grabbed us early, and I got baptized when I was like 14 when I got baptized.
Okay. So can you identify a time when, obviously before you were saved, that the Lord, sometimes we have these situations that happen, and it's not until we look back on them that we figure like, man, the Lord really had my back, or the Lord was looking out for me. Do any stories like that come to your mind? Like stories where, I don't know, maybe you was in danger or something, you didn't know how you was going to get out of it, or whatever.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you one too. When I I think I vividly, it's still in my mind, like I vividly saw the Lord hand, from the sky. I don't, it could have been a dream or what have you. It could have been just a vision.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember when we were living in Florida at the point, and we had like a lot of big cockroaches and that kind of thing. And man, I was real terrified because they were flying through the house and it freaked me out. I never experienced that.
Right.
So I was really scared. I ran out of the house and left my brother there. And when I went out, it was like a flash of lightning in the sky, and it was like motioning me to come. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's still like it's been in my head since then. And ever since then, you know what I mean, I kind of like wavered, but I was young at that point. But I still remember that hand, and today I would say that was the Lord, calling me, let me know that I'm safe, I'm in good hands.
Yeah.
And I just needed to. Just come to him and trust him.
Wow.
But I can remember times when I remember I was riding a horse, and I didn't have no saddle on him or anything. I was young, and I fell off of the horse and hit my head on the ground, knocked me unconscious.
Wow.
And when I think back to that, now, back when I was young, I really couldn't tie it all in. But when I think about I could have been killed then because I busted my head on the hard ground, which is like clay dirt back home.
Yeah.
Other things like young and just just had got my license and love speed. You know what I mean? And everywhere I go, I went wide open. And I think about kids nowadays that follow that same path and that path took them out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm still here, you know what I mean? I remember one time when, because the devil, he's real busy and he does what he can to try to turn you away to bother your belief. And my grandmother, she was a very wise woman, man. And if she said, you're not supposed to go over this river over here and affiliate with certain people, you better believe it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But my mind was open, you know what I mean? I'm like, well, that was back when. And she broke it down and told me those kind of people does evil work, and I didn't buy it. I'm like, oh, you're older in your age, you know what I mean? Times has changed. There's no such thing as devil worship and works, that kind of thing. So I ended up getting caught up and couldn't understand it, but it took me off my feet and placed me in a lot of pain at the age of 20. And I thought about killing myself. I had already found a tree that I was going to run my grandmother's truck into and just end my life because I couldn't deal with it. And I never stopped praying at the same time, though.
Right.
And so I kept going to doctors after doctors after doctors, and they just kept changing my medicine. I kept seeing specialists. They kept changing my medicine. And so I end up going to this spiritual woman that prayed for me, and she opened the Bible up to me. And a lot of things that when we read through the Bible, we don't really get the full understanding. It takes somebody with seasoning that could break it down to you.
Right.
And things that I know I hadn't told nobody, even like the part where I wanted to take my own life, I didn't tell anybody that. That was just me and my saying, and the Lord heard it. And I'm sure the devil heard it too, because that was his plan. But the Lord brought me out of that. You know what I mean? He saved my life. He took me to the right people I needed to see that was God given. And they prayed for me, and through the process, I got better. So I thank God for that. I thank God for, the older ones that can talk and understand the ways of life and the things that we as youngsters take for granted, don't pay any attention to, you know what I mean? We just run.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So also I could.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Also, I can remember a time, my very first motorcycle wreck. I mean, I was running like 140 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour. and I didn't have no helmet on. And when I lost control of the bike, it would just so happen like a lot of high grass was on the side of the road. I rode that grass down and rode that grass down. And at that point, when the bike caught grip in the ground, it threw me across the highway at an angle. I bumped my head.
Wow.
And I ended up on the other side of the road, me and the bike. And I was able to get up and walk away from it.
Yeah,
Whoa.
At 150 miles an hour with no helmet on.
Whoa.
I knew that wasn't nobody but God. You know what I mean? I knew He had His hand on me. I know there was people that was praying for me because I was young and foolish. You know what I mean? I just loved the excitement. You know what I mean? Didn't think about the danger. And that was my South Carolina life. But as far as like on the wide open side, you know, it was prayer.
Yeah.
But I could think about the times when I heard my grandmother, you know, in her room at night when I'd wake up, she'd be praying. And I've also heard, you know, sometimes like the prayers that we were riding off on, it's not for, you know, that we prayed those prayers to keep us going.
Right.
It's those prayers that was prayed before us to help keep us going in the right direction and to protect us.
Absolutely. Wow. So you was going 150 miles per hour.
Right.
Obviously, you was on like a crotch rocket then, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I just love speed, you know.
Man, and you literally got up. Like,
Yeah,
wow.
that's amazing.
Walked away, but just a little gash on the side of my head. It wasn't deep. It was just like a scrape. My pants ripped out in the bottom, you know what I mean? But, you know, I was able to get up and walk away from it.
Hey,
Yeah.
OG,
You know what I mean?
OG.
Yeah.
As like impossible, as crazy, as amazing this may sound, it still doesn't even surprise me. You know what I'm saying? If anyone were to be flying 150 miles per hour,
Right.
crash and get back up, it's definitely you. Okay? If anyone on this earth can do it, it's definitely you, man. You know,
Man, I was riding on them. I was riding on prayers, man, that was laid out before me because, you know, only God knew. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And,
you got a strong head too. For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, you know, my grandmother always would tell me I was hard headed at times. You know what I mean?
Who knew it'd come in
You're
handy?
Clear.
Who knew it'd come in handy like this? But
That's right.
Hey, OG, but you want to know something though?
What's that?
Just listening to your story now, you know, you one of my favorite people in the world, period. And I'm not just saying that, like, man.
Oh, I appreciate that, my brother. Likewise.
I love you to life. I done learned so much, you know, from you, you know, just, you know, our just talks. You feel me? You opened up your house for me, you know, when, at times when I was sleeping in my car, you know, you had me, you allowed me to, you know, I had a room in your house, you know, so it's nothing in this world. Like you could actually, you don't even have to ask me anything. You just got to point, you know what I'm saying? Just point and shoot. But one thing that I see here, I see the results of instilling morals and principles in the children at a young age, because, you know, no matter what stage you found yourself in, you still had that foundation. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you still had that.
I never turn it loose either, bro. Never turn it loose.
And I can see that. I can see that even now. You know, like, and I want to like underline it. I want to put it in bold. You know, all these different things to emphasize the importance of just that. You know, no matter how far, you know, we may stray, no matter how many times we fall, you know. But you having that foundation, and I'm just saying in life we have challenges, you know, but you having that foundation, and, you know, us, you know, this generation, you know, my generation, being able to benefit from it, you know, somebody like you and your experiences. So no, it's definitely a blessing. It's like the blessing that keeps on giving. Right. You know what I'm saying? So no.
Well, you know, that's like, you know, that's how I was brought up. You know what I mean? You know, I was brought up when coming up. Well, one of the things that I went through, which also made me realize, you know, the importance of young men having men in their lives.
Right.
And that was because, I didn't grow up with my father being around.
Right.
My uncles taught me little things, in and out of my life, but I didn't grow up with my father figure being around. And that hurted me, I used to cry sometimes, where was my father? Where is my father?
Did you know him? Did you know him at all?
Yes, I did. I did, but he just was one of those kind of fathers that really didn't have time.
He was in Florida or in Carolina?
I was in Florida at the time, in Florida.
What about your dad was in Florida as well?
Correct, yes.
Oh, okay.
And so after moving to South Carolina, and I used to see, there's always, the Lord laid things out because in front of you to acknowledge. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I will always see different things throughout life that whenever I say, when I get big enough, I'm going to dress like this way. I'm going to dress like that way.
Wow.
And I would always pray. And so being that I didn't grow up with my father and that kind of thing, and really, I don't know how it happened, but I didn't have a male figure to talk to. The only thing I had was my grandmother's discipline and God.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
That says a lot.
So I reach out to younger guys nowadays that really don't have that guidance, because nowadays everybody just wide open, pretty much doing their own thing, and they almost like forget about the younger ones, the future to come up. You know what I mean? So we don't take the time as God-fearing men and go along with the experience that God has showed us throughout life. You know what I mean? We would break down. You know what I mean? So I thank God for all of my experience, all of them. You know what I mean? There were times I cried, times I didn't understand, even to the point that when I came to Arizona and been in a bad motorcycle wreck there, and
so wait,
what happened?
You got into another motorcycle accident in Arizona?
And my brother driving a lot slower. For real. But this one is the one I have that have sat me down to do more thinking and seeing what God has been doing, in my life, And but yeah, I was on the interstate, doing rush hour. And my boss told me to come up and pick my truck up. So I go to pick my truck up. And so I had to ride my motorcycle from Tempe to Phoenix.
Okay.
And just as I got ready to start, like I said, these prayers, man, and God, that foresee our future, that knew us from the beginning to the end, the end to the beginning, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just heard this voice was like, put your helmet on. And mind you, I'm riding 150 miles an hour with no helmet because I'm not a helmet fan.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I listened to that voice, and I got from I left Tempe. I might have got maybe not quite to the 24th Ave, and this guy pulled out in front of me. We had the collision, and just before the collision, everything slowed down just slowed down. The first thing is like move your hand out of the way. So I moved my hand to keep my hand from getting smashed up against the truck itself.
Wow.
Once we collided, everything speed up. I hit the truck. I went into the air, and the first thing hit the ground was my head.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it busted the helmet, scratched it all up, and I was sliding down the road, me and the bike, and I'm scared because it's rush hour.
Right.
And so after I stopped, I jumped up immediately to get out of the road, and I took one step and fell back down. And the guy came out, he assisted me, and I wasn't in a whole lot of. I wasn't in no pain. I was just scared, so going like in shock motion, pretty much.
Yeah.
And so the ambulance, the cops was like right across the street, literally. You know what I mean? So they called the ambulance. The ambulance came and picked me up. I was at the hospital in less than 5 minutes. You know what I mean? I had a very short ride. But in the process of this, I was bleeding a lot. You know what I mean? So I could have bled out because my leg broken in 3 places. My leg, some of my bone protrude through my leg.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And so after I got there, I'm scared. So being that the kind of guy that I grew up in. I always still live by this code of being a good father to my kids, being a good father to anybody's kid that I can help. You know what I mean? So I was like, Lord, I say, don't take my leg. You know what I mean? And I didn't know how serious it was at that point, but I knew I needed my leg. And I went into surgery, came out of surgery. My leg was still there, and I thank it, but I still didn't know it was broken in 3 places.
Wow.
So after I found out the fact that my leg was broken 3 places, this is how good God is. I hadn't been on my job 60 days. You know what I mean? And my leg was broken in half above the knee. My whole knee was demolished, and it was broken below the knee.
Oh, man.
If I ask myself and 100 black people, black guys, what are your chances in them saving your leg? You know what I mean?
Right.
Most of the time, to me, they would have just went off, save money, just cut it off right there where it's at.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But it was God, bro. It was God that did this.
Man.
And after my leg wasn't growing above my knee like how they wanted it to, that threw me right back in the situation of, okay, we have to amputate it at this point.
Wow.
But it was God, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's God. So I knew I said my prayers. I knew I told God I needed my leg. I knew God knew my heart, and especially how I grew up and what I wanted to do. One of my biggest things is to always help the younger men, teach them what I know. So, this doctor that wasn't into the first surgery, he was in there when they went back to talk about what they're going to do with this leg now, so it's not coming back together. So I say he was God sent, because he said, let me have him, let me try something. And that was when they did the cadaver transplant. It wasn't 100% because there were people that wasn't successful with theirs, but it was God. You know what I mean?
Wow.
My leg mended. I was healing fast. You know what I mean? In the process of going to therapy, I had one of the screws that popped. I got like 8 screws in my knee. I got a pin from the bottom of my knee all the way down to my ankle. I got a cadaver bone above my knee and a plate from the side of my knee all the way up to my hip.
Right. So
halfway my
So when you say cadaver transplant, it was a cadaver bone and like the nerves as well, or
it was the bone itself from a donor.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it was a donor bone. They call it a cadaver transplant.
Man, oh man.
Yeah. So when one of my screws popped loose, it kind of it freaked me out again. But I remembered my prayer.
Yeah.
And so just so happened they started. I went back for another checkup. They had to go back in my knee again. This is my 3rd surgery. They had to go back in my knee again to replace that screw. The 4th surgery I had going through therapy, the lady bent my leg back like 105 degrees when the doctor said I was only be able to do it 95. So she got it to bend back to 105. In the process of that, she bent the hardware.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And right then I'm mad, I'm upset because of what I'm going through. So when I end up going back to have this 4th surgery done, they end up, I had another doctor that was there that wasn't there on my other surgeries. I say he was God sent. So what he did was, while they was opening my knee up to replace the hardware back in it again, he decided to dig further and take a look at the internal part of it, scrape some off the bone and all that kind of thing. Which found out, after they sewed me back up and did everything, they called me immediately the same week and told me that they needed to start me on antibiotic because they found bacterial infection that was growing. So I asked the doctor, I said, well, if this wasn't detected, what could have happened? He said, we had to take the leg.
Ooh-wee.
So it was but God. So I'm mad at this lady for bending it. But it was like a blessing because God had to do what he had to do, and he had to show me his powers,
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I thank him for it. I really thank him for it because he brought me through this. Then the other thing, see, the devil don't quit.
That's a fact.
The other thing was me having to deal with not being able to live that lifestyle, the fastness, the horses, the racing, you know what I mean? All that was taken from me, you know what I mean? I was 40 years old and able to stand up and turn a vertical back to at will, you know what I mean? And so all that was taken from me. I sit at the park and I watch kids play with their father, so I was kind of like pulled back into where I was when I was younger. And every time I had that bad feeling and wanted to question, God showed me something. I didn't have to take no antidepressant pills or anything.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
Okay.
So I was sitting outside one day and going through my madness, you know, wanting to question God, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. Overlooking the fact I still got this leg,
Right.
but I was just still mad. And it wasn't nobody but the devil. So I saw this guy coming through with this big old dog. And I asked him, I say, what kind of dog is that? And he told me. And then he had one leg. So I asked him, what happened in your accident? Motorcycle accident.
Wow.
Took his leg.
Yeah.
So at that point, I looked back down at my leg and I said, thank you, Jesus. I still have this.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
God has been, man, he has been really super. And through this whole process of sitting and thinking, still going, and I met the pastor, Sheila Faith. I was going to the church, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hearing good words, and the pastor's praying for me, you know, I'm meeting good brothers there and all kind of things like that. They showed me love. And all this helped me through when I was like in a town, really, in a state, really, that I only had like one, well, maybe I had two brothers there, but they was on doing their own life. So I kind of still felt by myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but it was God that brought me through this,
OG,
you know, and yeah.
not to cut you off, I got a question for you.
Mhm.
Because you said a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
You
said it.
Hey, that's
man.
one of my testimonies. That's my testimony right there, bro.
Absolutely.
If anybody could do it, God can.
But you want to know something? You're like a man's man. You hear what I'm saying? Like you don't play no games. You're a bull, and you know, even to hear that you mainly raised by your grandmother, but still, you know, you're a man's man. And my question for you is, well, one thing that I noticed in the different interviews that we had, extreme people experience extreme circumstances and situations.
Right.
Like the Lord has to, like, you know, take you through some the extremities.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But one thing that really stands out about you and your character, alongside you being one of the hardest working men that I know, is like your humility. Like it's really amazing to me, like the type of humility that, you know, you have and you exude and you show all of the time. Do you think that came from like you experiencing, you know, all of these, you know, extreme situations in life like that? Like, where did that humility, you know, come from? You being the bull that you are, you still a bull, man. you still a bull. But where does this humility come from?
My brother, it came from God, because I know the kind of guy I was. I know I like adventure, you know what I mean? And I like the edge, you know. I would say my real humility came in with this last accident I had on the motorcycle, because I couldn't do nothing then but sit down, listen to God, see the steps that he took me through with this leg that I went through, acknowledge the blessings, and see how he worked when the bad situation, I look at it was a bad situation, but it was the hand of God moving. You know what I mean? Like I said, I was really, really upset with this woman for bending my knee, you know, bending the hardware of my leg.
Yeah.
But if she hadn't have done that, they wouldn't have found the bacterial infection. And if they had not have found the bacterial infection, they would have had to amputate this leg. So it was just God. I had 4 surgeries and 2.5 years of physical therapy. So the wild side of me, the adventurous side of me, had me going too fast and full to really see and take the time to acknowledge, how important I was to God.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I hear
The
you.
importance,
I hear
the
you.
importance of, you know, like you, brother Rick, Minister Rick. You know what I mean? That was me. When it was God, it's what God put in me. You know what I mean? And
Right.
it's one of my passions to always help, the younger ones.
Yeah.
And if I stayed on that edge path that I was on, I might not have been able to do that. God knows all our heart. You know what I mean? He knows my heart. And for me to be able to do his work and for me to be able to help those that come my way as well as me, when I help you, it helps me too. When I help anybody, it helps me too.
Message.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
Yeah. so so it was that sit down stationary time. I had to get away from South Carolina altogether. But then I ran into this situation, but it really brought humility and patience in my life to wait on God. And
Dick, I got a
I
question
said,
for you. It's Mike. I got another question for you. I wanted to talk to you about being a dad. When did that start, and how you talked about being a dad to the young men and helping them out in life and installing what you learned in them. And I know you talked to me, Dave, and Rick. I know you talked to all of us and gave us nuggets here and there. So
Absolutely.
talk to us about like the nuggets you installed in your own children and creating your own family and legacy.
well, what I talk to my kids about,
Well, first of all, how many kids do you have?
I got 5 boys and 1 little girl who's the princess.
Facts.
We know that.
You know what I mean? She's another blessing that came to me out of Arizona. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess my life was too fast back this way for me to be able to get that daughter, but a lot of blessings came out of this whole thing. You know what I mean? The sit down moment, the wait moment, to be patient, let God, do his thing in my life. A lot of good things came out of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's as far as like my kids, I always, like I say, the way how I was brought up, and I always vowed that I'm going to be there for my children.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to ever leave and step away from my kids, because I understood the hurt. I would see my uncles that come from out of, from New York, New Jersey, what have you, and pick their kids up. They come and spend time with me during the summer. Then they go to Disney. They go to the beach. They go to Six Flags. They just take trips to the mountain. I didn't have that, but it hurt my feelings. But it was that as well as my grandmother's teaching and God showing me to help me mold, help me be the man that I am and help me to mold my kids and teach them responsibility. Like I said, I didn't have a man figure around me, but it was my mother's strictness and her prayer and God. I can't really explain to you how I got the man in me if I had to break it down, because I ain't had no man around me really to show me things.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, I had this initiative to take charge and do things, around the house to my grandmother. Take charge and not have to have nobody to tell me, look, hey, this needs to be fixed. Fix it. Hey, the hogs are out. They tore the pen up. When I came home from school, I did that. You know what I mean? I didn't have to have nobody behind me to do these things. So I was like a little man that sat into the realm of a big man that noticed that responsibility that somebody needs to do. So I thank God for that. But with my kids, my first kid was born when I was 18 years old. And I had 2 jobs. After I got out of high school, I worked at a Burger King and I worked at McDonald's. You know what I mean?
The
Because,
competition.
I was just going to say that.
yeah, because I determined to not, let my kids be, go lacking. That's not what fathers do. You know what I mean?
All
I'm not
right.
what a real man do.
All right.
In my book, you know what I mean? So I did that. I took care of my sons. And as they came along, I always took care of them. And then as I go from one job to the next, and I explained to them, Daddy's moving up into the plant. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Nobody have told me, if you want to be better, do this. If you want to be better, do that. That drive came from God. And every step from working in my plant with a pitchfork in my hand, you know what I mean? I'm gonna take one step back, brother, from that. I train racehorses professionally.
There you go. Break it down. I was waiting on that.
But I had no benefits with that. You know what I mean? And then my first son, I knew he had to have medical. Somebody got to take care of him on the medical end.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So I needed a job that would have benefits. So I left that job to start another. Well, after I got the job at the plant, then I left that job.
Smart
But
man.
yeah, but God, I'm sure you, God is so good, man. Whatever I do with God, it was a blessing, because even with leaving the horses, working every day, Monday through Saturday, after I left there, but with my talent and drive, I was able to have that same man pay me full salary, and I worked 3 hours a day. You know what I mean? It wasn't me. It was God that had that drive started me to be the best.
Man.
And I always do everything I do. I try to be the best and keep God first. And I put that in my kids. Don't settle for less. Try to be the best. And anything that I learned, as far as changing brakes on the car, changing the tires on the car, I made sure I teach my boys, because these were things that nobody taught me as far as my family wise. But these were traits that I pick up along my path.
Right.
And I wanted to share this. I not just share this with my kids. I share it with any other kids that out there that don't have that training. So, but I always just tell my kids, take the initiative. Don't always let somebody point something out to you that you see that needs to be done.
Right. Take
the initiative and do, and that will stand out for you. You know what I mean? That will help you achieve a lot of your goals and stuff. And like I said, regardless to what I learned, even with the air conditioning thing, the truck thing, I still taught my kids everything I know. You know what I mean? Because I want them to be not as good as me. Like I believe in the Bible, if I'm not mistaken, you should be better than your parents. You should always reach forward, so you can pull somebody up and teach somebody more, because there's a lot out there in life that God wants us to have. But if we always walk around and keep our hand in our pocket and settle for less, that's what we'll be, But yeah, that just was my drive. That's how I just took off with it. I wanted my boys to be man, know how to do things.
Wow, man. That's
yeah. I hope that kind of answers your question, brother Mike.
I love it.
And you did everything. You went from burger flipping to breaking horses to trucks. Like, man, you done did everything.
Heating and cooling.
Heating and cooling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, you done had a lot of jobs. I got a question for you. Did you hate your father? Do you hate your father?
No, never did. Because my father is my father. You know what I mean? And wherever he fell off at, wherever he came liking at, really, that also helped me to be who I am. And I didn't want to be like him. I didn't hold it against him. I still love him. You know what I mean?
Is he alive now?
Yes, he is.
Do you have a relationship with him at all, or not really?
Not a strong relationship, but I do acknowledge Father's Day. On his birthday, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. I reach out to him. Even if it's just twice a year, I still reach out to him.
Yeah. And
if he called me and need me, like right now, I'm going to him, because he is my father.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. That's great. That's great. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, I also want to add, sometimes throughout life, people do you wrong. They take advantage of you. You know what I mean? All that kind of thing. God has instilled in me, and I thank him for it. I'm not going to say nobody can't make me mad, but you can't have my mad dragging for days. You know what I mean? Yeah. I will forgive you, whether you were the one that was the aggressor or whether you were the one that did me wrong, however the situation. I don't do anybody any wrong to hurt nobody, because I love people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I thank God, because he has instilled in me a heart of gold that we're in. I can't carry anger. You know what I mean? And I thank him. And sometimes I want to get you. You know what I mean? You mess with my manhood. You mess with my heart.
Yeah.
I got to hit you. I got to get you. But God, He prevails. He always steps in.
That's
You know what I mean?
powerful.
And I can't carry anger, and I thank Him for that. Even though the devil tried to pound it in me, well, this is what you do. This is what men do. No, that's not the will of God. God
Wow.
said, let Him handle the wrath. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, my brothers, anybody that had did me any kind of unjust that I wanted to get back and had the intention to get back, but God, I always remember, let God have His way.
Mhm.
Care of 'em.
God dealt with them. I didn't have to do it, and He dealt with them in a way to wherein I see it and I acknowledge it.
Huh.
And the other one thing that I have read in the Bible, when somebody that have done you wrong and they start getting back to things that they have dished out when God is dealing with them, don't be happy for that grief for them.
All right. All
You know
right.
what I mean? And that's a battle in the mind that the devil will try to push there for you.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, he got him back. He got him back. But don't be happy for him, because God said if you are excited because they're going back through their hardship, then He moves His hand,
Right.
because that's not for my joy to get. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And like
Absolutely.
I said, I thank Him for my heart. I thank Him for me not being able to hold a grudge
Yes, sir.
and be mad at somebody. You know what I mean? I thank Him for that.
Man, these are great nuggets, man. For sure, man. I could listen to your stories forever.
Hey, my brother, trust
Yeah.
me, right now, I'm shedding tears of joy because it ain't nobody but God, and this is helping me as well. You know what I
Great.
mean?
Great.
I'm glad to share my stories. I'm glad whoever I can touch that can learn from my stories. You know what I mean? So you don't have to be the one to go out there and bust your head to learn.
Yeah.
You know what I
that's
mean?
a fact.
Look around, listen.
Yes,
You know
sir.
what I mean? Yeah, and grow from that. You keep God first. You know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I am, man. I'm telling you guys that this talk has helped me. I'm shedding. I'm a man.
Yeah,
Remember
of
I said
course.
you said that, Minister Mike. Rick, and that I am. But right now I'm shedding some tears of joy, man. I'm glad to sit here and share my story, because I know it's going to help somebody.
It is.
I know it
Absolutely, it is. And that's the whole point to why we want to
Yeah.
even, do these types of interviews and have podcasts like this, man, because God gets the glory, and in turn, people get helped,
Right.
And if it be the will of the Lord, even the person that's, in the interview can, receive some help as well,
Yeah.
as far as
Right,
with
yeah.
even just telling their story. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you even saying that. I kind of want to switch gears just a little bit, though. And
Okay.
we have a segment in the podcast to where I say some things to you, and then you tell me why you care about whatever I said, and why I should care, or why the listeners should care. And so I'm going to be giving you some subjects, and you just let me know, do you care about this, why you care about it, and why we should care about it. Or, if you feel like I don't care about it, you shouldn't, and whatever it is, definitely just give me your opinion. So the first one is career path.
Okay. I care about career path, because if you don't choose a career, and if you don't try to help yourself, who's going to help you? God said, well, it's like this. God works in men, real men. Everything goes right back to Cain and Abel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Each one of them had their own job.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout living, if you don't work, you won't eat.
There it is.
And if you don't work, like my grandmother said, and I was taught, you will steal. So if you want a good life, you have to work at it.
All right.
You know what I mean? And that is very important. You know what I mean? Because the devil, outside of your education, which you could learn, the devil will mold you and just put you in the street to do a lot of illegal stuff that could take your life just that quick. So even though you don't have no joy out of it, really, you know what I mean? It just for really, they say a season, but it's real short. That shortcut life is is something not to be proud of. And I don't really feel nobody is really proud of that lifestyle.
Right.
But anytime when you work hard at something and you achieve your goals, and you always keep in mind, you know where your help comes from. That's the easy step to do, is for a man to take his own glory. But as long as you know where your help comes from, it is good. So everybody should want something good out of life the right way. And God blesses the right way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dope. So now the next one is dating.
Dating, like I've been saying, this is like one of my new slogans. And I grab it from the Bible. You know what I mean?
Lay it on
God
us.
God says it's not good for man to be alone.
All right.
You know what I mean? So yes, there is somebody for everybody. Dating as well, the devil has his hand in that, because he will have you moving real forward to pull you off your blessings line. You know what I mean? Pull you off track, that can cause issues in your life to have you set back and give you hard times through it. But dating is and a woman is a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? If you're dating in the right realm, man with a woman, you know what I mean? A woman with a man.
All
that
right.
that is a beautiful thing, because out of that, if it's the Lord's will, like me and like you guys and anybody else that have kids, kids are very beautiful. Kids are innocent.
Yes,
They're
sir.
precious.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So dating is, it's a big thing. You just have to just be careful, because, like I said, the devil is in it too, and he'll have you moving way too fast. You know what I mean? But I like dating. Dating is a nice thing. It helps you get to know someone. You know what I mean? Better and that kind of thing. And then you guys can help one another. You know, you might end up dating someone that hadn't had the experience with God. You know what I mean? Nobody really taught them about God.
Right.
And that's a plus when you dating someone and you can reel them in and give them your teaching and your insight of the Lord. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That is beautiful. So yeah, I like dating.
It sounds like you didn't use that as a pickup line. You didn't use some scriptures.
My pickup line, my brother, is God said it's not good for man to be alone.
So what's your number? All 7.
Yeah. But you got to do it the right way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's guidelines with that.
Absolutely. So the next one is education.
Education. Man, you can never get enough education, because as time changes, you need to keep up with the change. Don't be satisfied with knowing one thing. Don't be satisfied with being good at one thing. You know what I mean? God give us the mind that we can explore. You know, I believe it's made in men to conquer. You know, so just to give you a little bit about myself, that I train racehorses professionally. I can do electrical work. I do steaming work. I can weld. You know what I mean? I can do air conditioning, refrigeration. I can run a trucking company. You know what I mean? So I don't set with one thing. You know what I mean? Because just in case of your own primary job, the only thing you do know cease, then you're in a world of trouble, because you don't know anything else. So God gave you the mind to explore, to learn, to conquer. I think that's a good thing. You should learn. You should get the education to learn.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Because if you don't learn, you can't teach nobody else, and you're not really going to help yourself as much as well.
Absolutely. That's great. So the next one is marriage.
That's the best thing of all right there. One of the best things. When you find a wife and you can love them, that's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And the devil is real busy with that. You know, he always have a counter move to try to attack everything that God made beautiful.
Absolutely.
And when a man finds a woman, God sent woman, that's a beautiful thing.
Yes, sir.
And throughout life, it's a battle, but as long as you keep God first and you fight for what's right, you know what I mean? And sometimes it don't always pan out. It don't always work out. But as long as you did your best and you know you did your best, and that's all you could do. Because a lot of times, people that we choose is not always the one that God chooses for us.
Okay.
You know, the other thing about that is sometimes, because of your belief, you know what I mean? Like me, for instance, I'm a diehard family man. And because of my belief and my experience, that I went through,
Mm-hmm.
you're supposed to stay with your family. You're supposed to work things out with your family.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let nothing come between that, because at that point, I believe is God's will. But at the same time, I'm gonna say my belief and my angle as far as the drive and wanting to have and saying it's supposed to be mine. It may not always be God's will, because everything's in a season,
Okay.
But in marriage, it's a beautiful thing. With God's blessing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dope. Ministry.
Ministry is it's a gift. Ministry is is life experience too as well. You know what I mean? Like the things that I have learned. I don't preach from a pulpit or anything like that. I don't teach a Bible study class
Mm-hmm.
or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
But my life lesson and the fear of God in me, I tell nobody no wrong path to follow.
Mm.
I believe that when God sends somebody in my direction with a problem, give them your honest, right opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Not your get back opinion, your honesty, right opinion. That's a ministry within itself.
Absolutely.
And always lead them, and before you guys break off with your conversation, let them know about God. And that's one of my paths. 'Cause I have a lot of people that talk to me about different things. People come up to me and I'm like, well, what makes them think that I know about their problem? But it always be a problem that I have experienced, or something I have experienced already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I said, I don't preach from a pulpit. I don't teach Bible class or anything like that. But living life and trusting God and reaching out to help people that comes to you, and those that you notice that need help, that's a ministry within itself. That is very, very important. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's exactly what ministry is, helping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's great. That's great. Money management.
Money management. Now I'm gonna tell you from experience. I like to speak from experience.
Yeah.
If you don't pay your tithes and offerings, I don't care how fat that thing's sitting, bro. You will find, or you will not find it. You will not see where it's going. You will know it's going. You know what I mean? That's just how it works. I am a firm believer you better pay it, because if you don't pay it, you're going to lose it somewhere. You know what I mean? And you be scratching your head like, dang, what happened? What happened is you didn't pay your tithes and offerings. You know what I mean?
Right.
So therefore, you just out there just doing whatever you feel like doing, and just throwing money wherever you feel like throwing it.
Mm-hmm.
And the majority of the time, a lot of time, it's not in the right direction. You know what I mean? So as long as you believing in God, you paying your tithes and offering, you gotta help you manage your funds. But you cannot override that. I don't care how you turn it, my brother. I'm telling you from experience. If you don't do right by it, it ain't gonna do right by you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Ownership.
Everything that a man conquers and get throughout his lifetime, it's just his while he lives.
Yeah.
You thank God for everything that He give you, all the enjoyment, even if it's you bought yourself a nice home.
Mm-hmm.
When I had my beautiful home, you know what I mean, and I still got a beautiful home, which is in heaven. But when I had my land beautiful home on earth,
Mm-hmm.
one thing I didn't do is been selfish with it, because I acknowledged the fact it was God given. I didn't keep it forever,
Mm-hmm.
but I was grateful for it.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And I set aside some time to say, God, I thank you. God, I thank you. You know what I mean? And just like Job had a whole lot of stuff that, you could say that was his, that he owned. And God, he ended up losing all that. Job lost everything he had. You know what I mean? But in the long run, he ended up getting everything back.
Absolutely.
Plus,
Yep.
you see what I'm saying?
Yes,
So,
sir.
I just, I thank God for everything that he blessed me to have and to own. But I know it's just for a season. Whether I lose it before I leave this earth, or whether I lose it while I'm still on this earth. You know what I mean? Nothing is here to stay. You can't take anything with you. The only thing you do is just be grateful for what you own throughout your lifetime, the time that you have to enjoy it. And never take the credit. Always thank God, for what he had done.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. We got a couple of more, Deke. You still got some time for us?
Oh, my brother, y'all got me feeling good, man. I can, I got a lot of life experience.
Good.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to keep you too much longer, but we definitely do still got a couple more. Another one is health and fitness.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Well, I'm soon to be 53 years old.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
And I don't feel my age at all. Right now, I just feel I'm just as young as a whippersnapper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's important to keep yourself in shape. You know what I mean? Because anything that don't move like it should move, on the outside it accumulate rust and it stiffens up.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So I do my best to stay in shape. I do my best to eat right. Because, as times change, it ain't like a lot of people, like when I was coming up on the farm, I go out there and get good old tomatoes and beans and stuff out of the garden that we grow. You know what I mean? It's critical now because so much stuff has come up with so much fast chemicals, so much coloring to it and everything, because the money-making world, the only thing a lot of people are concerned about is making money. So it's up to us to acknowledge that fact and do what we can to keep ourselves as healthy as possible to have a long life.
Good stuff. Politics.
Well, I'm like this right here with politics.
All right.
I say if it's the Lord's will. A lot of things that goes on that I disagree with, a lot that goes on that I do agree with. There's always some give and take, when you're dealing with politics. But I just trust the Lord. What's for me is for me. I don't too much get into it or get too much wrapped up in it because, I acknowledge the fact, time change, people change, and we have to be able to adjust to changes.
Yeah.
And just be wise, like I say, and through the storm you'll survive. You know what I mean? When the sunshine comes out, then you'll enjoy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So yes, I just keep that part of my life simple and not get too tangled up with it. But I always just wish the best for the people.
Cool. One more, racism.
That's a sickness. That's a disease.
Okay.
And it's important, that we as people acknowledge the fact that we are people. You know what I mean? We have the same blood. We bleed the same. Well, we all bleed blood. We all breathe the same air. And it's just a virus, a bad disease. I don't like it. I'm a person that can help any and everybody that I feel the Lord sends my way. That if I can help them, I help them, regardless to what color or creed that they are. You know what I mean? Or religion. I just look at people as people. And until we as a whole, as people learn to accept that, we're going to always have a division, in life. The white stick with the white, the Mexican stick with them, the black stick with them, and all this kind of thing. But bottom line is, there is nothing that I believe that white people can too much accomplish that black people hadn't touched to help them accomplish, Mexican hadn't touched to help them accomplish, or whatever race hadn't touched to help them accomplish, and vice versa. There's nothing too much that I can come up with or nothing really I can come up with that black owned or black came up with that white, Mexican, or any other color have touched. You know what I mean? So we have to acknowledge the fact that we are people, and all of us that God created all of us. So we have to learn to get along and not look at color, look at people.
All right. Now I'm gonna flip it on you a little bit, and
Okay.
let's hear how you feel about race appreciation. Black and I'm proud, white and I'm proud, or Mexican I'm proud, whatever it is. Race appreciation.
Okay. As blacks, we got a problem. If I'm following it right. Everybody else, every other creed or colors, pretty much work with each other as far as to be successful. You know what I mean? As blacks, we tend to try to pull each other down or not want to help one another because we want to try to have what I call, so to speak, be somebody that we're not.
Okay.
But whatever color you are, I feel you should be proud of the color that you are because God made you the color that you are. He don't make no mistakes. So if he wanted you to be dark, you're dark. And you should be proud of that you are dark. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
I don't think you should try to discolor yourself to be somebody that you weren't created to be. So every race, nationality should be proud of who they are. But I would be extra excited to see my people rise to the occasion and learn from other races and see, how they stay on top, or how they come together as a whole in their race to come on top. And there is always division, but sometimes looking at it as a whole, you can learn from it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You can really learn from it.
Absolutely. Let's go with technology.
Technology. For real, technology is good. It's good and it's bad at the same time, I would say. You know what I mean? Because it has a tendency of making some of us lazy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? For instance, something real simple. You could be in your home, sitting down in your lazy boy and wanting to turn the TV. You would get up and walk around in that house 15 to 20 minutes looking for that remote. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Versus walking over to the TV and finding your channel. You know what I mean? The technology has made us lazy.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it's sort of like some of our kids today with technology. They're smart with it. You know what I mean? They're smarter than I am with it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it has this backlash because they can also, we can get caught up in the technology with playing new advanced games and that kind of thing. And we'll waste a whole lot of time sitting before the TV on that game when you're really not actually learning anything that's really beneficial to the brain or anything that's beneficial to helping yourself succeed in life.
Absolutely.
So it has its pluses and minuses, but, it overall it is making us lazy. That's what I feel.
Absolutely. Technology definitely does have its good points and its bad points. One thing you said kind of stuck out to me, and for me to add on to it, I just would say that technology definitely takes us and our children, if we're not careful, away from person to person interaction.
Correct.
In our society, we lack in person to person interaction in a major way. I just saw a picture of a car vending machine.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you tell I saw that too, and I'm like, wow, it's technology, but man,
you order the car from the app from your phone, and then you go to the vending machine, you press the button, and it literally pushes your car out. It's like, man, no person to person interaction at all. You know, it's crazy, man. Technology, man. Technology. You love it and you hate it all at the same time.
Man, I'm just trying to get my car. I'll talk to y'all later.
I wish I could just go ahead and just push the button. You know, sometimes like these vending machines, somebody might try to get something that don't come out.
Yeah, or two come out at once.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, that'll work for me too.
We can definitely have some person-to-person interaction then when you got two coming
out.
Yeah,
believe that. You better believe.
We can talk then.
Yeah. But I have seen, like when I was on the road, man, I have seen the driver, you know, I'm sitting up high in a truck, you know, so I have passed by cars and cars have passed by me. And the driver is the only one that nobody is paying attention to. The passenger in the front seat got a laptop or the phone. The ones in the back seat got their headphones on. Everybody doing their thing.
Yeah.
Nobody is socializing, you know what I mean, with one another. And I'm like, I'm just sitting there looking at it, and I'm like, wow, just like how you were saying, Brother David, it's taking us out of communication.
Yeah, facts.
You know, and me myself, I have ridden in the car with my kids, and they were like, "Yo, Daddy, can I hold your phone?" Nah, let's just talk about something. Let's look around, let's sing a song or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they'll sit there, and the whole time you're riding with your own household family, and nobody's talking to each other.
Right. And that's crazy.
It definitely is.
That's crazy.
Antisocial.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What you think about today's music, Deke?
Today's music, wow, it's very
Do you have a word?
I'm looking for them words. So because I see what's going on with today's music. You know what I mean? It's very misleading, and if you're talking about like the R&B side of it, you know what I mean, the worldly side of it, you know,
whatever side you want to talk about, whatever.
So I'm gonna go on that side, cause that, you know what I mean, that's the part that I see that really needs adjusting. You know what I mean? Everybody have their own era. My era coming up, R&B was R&B. You know, it was nice and smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, it's just like got way out of control. So advertising, sexually advertising, violently advertising, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's bad on you know, on our kids that's coming up today. You know, like I said, every era have their own.
Mm-hmm.
But when we were coming up, you know, in my age, we didn't have that type era type deal. You know, and even like I like music, period. As far as, you know, the beat and the instrumentals would move me. You know, I like that.
Yeah.
And on the gospel end of it, you know, I know we have to keep up, you know, with the attentive to get the people's attention, pretty much. So like Mary, I like Mary and some of these other. Mary was like one of the first ones I kind of liked. I'm like, wow, she's singing. This kind of like remind me of back popping finger time, but it was gospel. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that shift with that is good because you listen to the instrumental and the music and then in the lyrics, and nowadays, you know, on the other end of it, you know, on the R&B side, the blues side of it, so to speak, that's what the color we call it. So it's like, you know, it's just really sexual and drug related misleading, and our kids and everything, we want that, they want that fast money, that fast life, those fast cars, you know, them short shorts, and it's just crazy. It just goes to show how the devil just stay in the game regardless of how things turn. He just stays in the game, and he targets really like our youth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cause me myself, like, I don't understand what they're saying, to be honest with you. So it ain't bothering me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well.
Yeah.
Man, this has been a really great interview, man. And once again, we definitely do appreciate you just giving us your time. I got one last question for you.
Okay.
And that is, name 2 things that you want people to say about you when you're gone? Like, you know, if you could put the words in their mouth, what would you want? What would you want to be known for? 2 things.
Well, as long as they've been knowing me, I'm unchangeable. I'm the same person I was that was instilled in me from childhood. The other thing is that they can get results from me if they came to me for whatever reason to talk. And knowing that I'm a God-fearing man, and I'll speak the truth to them. And at the same time, will shine light on life.
Wow. Great.
All right.
Great. Well, man, Deke, once again, we want to just thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, man, I appreciate y'all, my brother, man. I definitely appreciate you.
Man, it's so much to take away from the things that you've said, man. This has been rich nugget-filled interview. And we just appreciate you so much, man. Want to give you a round of applause once again.
Thank you.
We love you, man. We love you, man.
All right, I appreciate you, my brother. And anytime, I could do anything to help out my brothers, like I say, regardless of what color you are, you my brothers, my sisters, I'll more than 100. And I keep it 100.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely do.
Yeah.
Well, man, we're going to go ahead and let you go, Deke.
All right, my brother. Hey, y'all keep me in your prayers, man.
Yes, sir.
And,
yes, sir. Likewise.
And likewise, I'm going to pray for you guys too.
Absolutely.
And good luck with all this, Mr. Dave. Good luck with it. I definitely appreciate this opportunity.
Absolutely.
I really do.
Thank you so much.
And just to give you heads up, I ain't even try to rehearse nothing.
Good.
I'm like, Lord, just however way it come, let it come. You know what I mean? Cause I could have been like, oh Lord, what am I gonna say? No. I'm just going how it roll. That's how the world let it roll. And just
absolutely.
let God do His will. Yeah.
That's it. That's what we wanted, Deke. All right, now you take it easy. Love you, man.
All right, I love you guys too, man.
Love you too,
You
Deke.
too, man.
All right.
Man, that was wonderful.
Yeah.
That was excellent.
Excellent.
I don't know why this beat always make me want to just
Go ahead, get it.
That was wonderful and that was excellent. I'm on my Run DMC flow and I'm nah, man. If
It
you
sounded like you was,
I knew he was about to go.
I thought he was about to do something.
I ain't as clever as you, man.
Stop it.
I'm not as clever as you, bro.
He ain't say you. He was talking about me.
I know he wasn't talking about you.
I'm talking about the freestyle king over here.
Go ahead, get it, bro. Come on.
Somebody holla hallelujah.
You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
that's how you gonna do it?
Hey,
Right there.
like that.
Yay.
Nah, but if you lasted this long, man, we just want to thank you. If you made it to the end of this interview, we just want to thank you. You have been tuned in to the Flowers Now podcast, where people tell their story and God gets the glory. And we want to give you a round of applause as well for just sticking it out with us. And you know what? We'll be back again. And so we will see you next time. Peace.
Peace.